Mexico City is one of the most exciting cities in the world. From the majestic beauty of the Palacio de Bellas Artes to the historic streets of Coyoacan and the delicious Mexican cuisine. In total, we spent 2 months exploring this place, and in this video, we're taking you on a journey through our top 15 spots to visit in Mexico City. Number 15. The Zócalo. The best way to start your time in Mexico City is to head to the Zócalo, the heart of the city. In the middle of this grand square is the biggest and oldest cathedral in all of Latin America. They started building this in 1573, and it took almost 250 years to finish. Talk about a long-term project. The inside of the cathedral is stunning though. The Aztecs that used to inhabit this part of Mexico believed the Zócalo was the center of the universe and built a temple right on the square. You can still visit the 700-year-old ruins of the temple complex called the Templo Mayor on the north side of the square. On the Zócalo, there's often indigenous people performing traditional Aztec ceremonial dances, wearing feathered headdress, loincloths, and shell ankle bracelets. On the east side of the square, you can find the impressive Palacio Nacional, where the president lives. The huge Mexican flag flying in the middle of the Zócalo is ceremonially raised at 8 a.m. every day by soldiers of the Mexican army, then lowered at 6 p.m. Up next, Mexican food. Alright, let's dive into the best part of visiting Mexico City, the delicious Mexican street food. Let's start with the king of street food here, the famous tacos al pastor. This juicy pork is slow cooked on a spit, then sliced off and served on a soft tortilla with pineapple, cilantro, and onion. It is a flavor explosion in your mouth. But the street food scene in Mexico City goes way beyond just tacos. You'll find all sorts of mouth-watering options like crispy quesadillas with gooey cheese inside, chicken emoladas smothered in delicious dark sauce, and tostadas with fresh seafood ceviche. Our favorite Mexican breakfast is chilaquiles, which are fried corn tortillas topped with green or red salsa and other toppings like beef, a fried egg, and anything else you want. And for dessert, only one place, churros from El Moro, often ranked as the best churros in the world. These crispy golden rods of sweetness are served piping hot, dusted with sugar and cinnamon, often dipped in chocolate or caramel. Oh boy, this is really good stuff. And judging by the 55,000 reviews this place has on Google, pretty much all of Mexico City comes here. One of our favorite places to try authentic Mexican street food in the city is the Merced Market, one of the largest and most iconic markets in the country. We'll come back to this place later in the video. Up next, the Palacio de Bellas Artes. Just a short walk away from the Zócalo, you'll find the stunning Palacio de Bellas Artes, one of the most beautiful buildings in Mexico City. The outside is a mix of Art Nouveau and Art Deco styles, covered in all-white Italian Carrara marble. But the inside is where the real magic happens. Here, you can not only marvel at the stunning architecture and vaulted glass windows, but the walls are also covered in these incredible murals by some of Mexico's most famous artists like Diego Rivera. Now, let me tell you about one of our favorite spots in all of Mexico City. From the Palacio de Bellas Artes, head across the square to Sears and take the elevator up to Café Don Porfirio. The outside terrace offers an incredible view of the Palacio and a panoramic view of Mexico City. It's also the perfect place to try traditional Mexican hot chocolate. It's not sweet, instead it has spices and chili in it for a bit of a kick. You'll love this place. We come here every time we go to Mexico City. While you're in the neighborhood, also be sure not to miss the Palacio Postal or Post Palace, which is just a short walk away. The inside is clad with gold, has a domed ceiling of leaded glass, and impressive staircases. Moving on to number 12, La Merced Market. No trip to Mexico City is complete without visiting the La Merced Market. The largest market in the city is the size of about 28 football fields and houses thousands of vendors. It's a sprawling maze of stalls that seems to go on forever and gives you a fascinating glimpse into Mexican culture. La Merced has been a central hub of commerce in Mexico City since the colonial era. The market's history dates back to the 1860s when it served as a primary wholesale market for the city. Today, this is where the locals come to shop and where you'll find everything from exotic fruits and vegetables to traditional crafts and car parts. Naik even got a haircut here. The market is loud, it's colorful, it's chaotic. It's like a city within a city, and you will probably get lost, but that is part of the fun. Our favorite section is the one with the street food stands, where you can find authentic Mexican food from different regions in Mexico that will make your taste buds sing. And definitely don't miss out on trying a michelada, a Mexican beer cocktail with chili and lime. Our next stop is Plaza Garibaldi, the home of mariachi music in Mexico City. This lively square is filled with music and mariachi bands any time of the day. You'll see groups of mariachis in their traditional charro outfits, ready to serenade anyone who asks and pays with a passionate performance. It's pretty amazing to think that this music has been around since the 19th century. The plaza features several statues and monuments dedicated to famous mariachi musicians and cultural figures. Plaza Garibaldi is surrounded by bars where you can taste some of the best tequila in the country, and Naik least favorite Mexican drink, mezcal, which is a smoky type of tequila. Just don't overdo it on the tequila or you won't have many memories of this place at all. Next up, the floating gardens of Xochimilco. Xochimilco is a district of Mexico City that is known for its extensive network of ancient canals and chinampas, which span approximately 170 kilometers and are part of a farming system developed by the Aztecs. These days, visitors can explore the canals on colorful boats called trajineras. The captains push the boats through the canals with long sticks. One of the coolest things about Xochimilco is that there are also a bunch of boats with people selling beers, cocktails, and all kinds of snacks. So you can just float around for a couple hours, have some drinks, and enjoy these beautiful canals originally built by the Aztecs. If you want to go all out, you can even hire a mariachi band to serenade you on your journey. Mexicans love to party, so expect a lively atmosphere, especially during weekends when loads of local families come here. You can hire a private boat for up to $25 an hour or join a shared boat. In the middle of the canals, you can visit Doll Island, which, if you ask me, looks very creepy with all these dolls. The island's caretaker, Don Julian Santana, actually began collecting and hanging the dolls for the ghost of a girl that he believed haunted the island. Next up, we're heading to Arena Mexico for a night of spectacular Mexican wrestling. Lucha Libre is not your average wrestling match though. Picture this, wrestlers decked out in elaborate costumes and vibrant masks performing high-flying moves that'll make your jaw drop. It's a big spectacle. The masks the wrestlers wear even become like a cult symbol to their fans, and shops all around town will sell them, kind of like football jerseys. One of the most legendary figures in Lucha Libre history, known as El Santo or the Saint, even became a national hero. He starred in numerous films and became a real pop culture icon. The best place to catch some Lucha Libre action is at Arena Mexico, often called the Cathedral of Lucha Libre. The atmosphere here is electric and the main reason we love watching a match. The crowd gets super into it, cheering and booing with every move. Vendors will be walking around the arena selling snacks and beers. Many people don't know about these games, but now you do, so don't miss out. Just a short trip from Mexico City, you can witness one of nature's most spectacular phenomena, the migration of millions of monarch butterflies to the forests of Coyoacan, Mexico. Every year, these stunning orange butterflies travel thousands of miles from the US and Canada to spend their winter among the pine and fir forests. And when we say they number in the millions, we really mean it. The trees are literally draped in a blanket of butterflies. The numbers fluctuate each year, but in 2019, there were 220 million butterflies in this area. The best time to visit is from mid-November to mid-March, with the peak viewing period in February. To make the most of your visit, plan to arrive in the morning when the butterflies are most active. As you walk through the reserve, you'll see branches heavy with clusters of monarchs pretty much all around, with their wings softly fluttering in the cool mountain breeze. It almost doesn't seem real. But the best part is, when the sun warms their little wings, the butterflies take flight, usually a whole branch taking off at once. This is a once-in-a-lifetime spectacle that you just can't miss and we'll be talking about for years. Next up, eating bugs. Mexico City isn't just about tacos, it's also home to a unique food tradition that dates back to the pre-Hispanic times, eating insects. Now, before you say ew and click away, hear us out. Eating bugs isn't just a random dare that tourists do here. It's a deeply rooted part of Mexican culture. During our time in Mexico City, we decided to face our fears and give it a try. We had some edible insects at the Coyoacan market. We spotted a vendor selling crispy, golden brown chapulines, that's grasshoppers to you and me. They were seasoned with garlic, lime juice, and chili, so we took a deep breath and popped a few in our mouth, and surprise, they were actually pretty good, kind of like spicy popcorn. Now, if you're feeling fancy, you can also opt for a more upscale bug-eating experience. Yes, that is a thing. At restaurant Limosneros in the city center, they serve gourmet dishes featuring insects like guacamole topped with chapulines, dishes with insect caviar, and these cheese bites wrapped in flowers with a local type of beetle. The food here is really delicious. It's no wonder these guys even come recommended by the Michelin Guide. Now, one of our favorite places to visit around Mexico City is Teotihuacan, also known as the ancient city of the gods. Teotihuacan isn't just any old ruins. It was once one of the biggest cities in the Americas, with over 125,000 people living here at its peak. As we walked along the 1.5-mile-long Avenue of the Dead that connects the main temples, we were following in the footsteps of people who lived there over 2,000 years ago. Now, let's talk about the stars of the show in Teotihuacan, the pyramids. The Pyramid of the Sun is the biggest structure on the site. At 213 feet tall, it's actually the third largest pyramid in the entire world. Climbing to the top will help work off those tacos, and the view is absolutely worth the effort. Just remember to bring sunscreen and water because there's not a whole lot of shade here. From the Pyramid of the Sun, you walk across the Avenue of the Dead to get to the slightly smaller Pyramid of the Moon. And if you want a truly once-in-a-lifetime experience, you can even take a hot air balloon ride at sunrise to admire Teotihuacan from the sky. We read it costs between $150 and $250 per person, but I mean, where else in the world are you gonna get a view like this? We're heading to Graffiti Alley, where Mexico City's vibrant street art scene comes alive. Graffiti Alley is a collection of streets and walls that showcase the work of talented local and international artists. The best part about Graffiti Alley, it's always evolving. The art you see today might be completely different next month. That's what makes this place so exciting. It's like a living, breathing canvas that reflects the pulse of Mexico City. Want to dive deeper into the stories behind the art? There are awesome street art tours available, often led by local artists or art historians. They'll give you the inside scoop on the techniques, meanings, and artists behind these incredible murals. We'll leave a link to Get Your Guide, our favorite tour operator, where you can easily book tours with local tour companies online. The best thing is, you can read the reviews by other travelers and choose which one suits you best. Now, let's talk about one of Mexico City's most incredible festivals, Dia de los Muertos, or Day of the Dead. This isn't your typical somber affair. It's a joyous celebration of life and remembrance. Happening on November 1st and 2nd, Day of the Dead is when locals honor their departed loved ones in the most surprising way. The streets come alive with colorful decorations and are filled with people in skeleton makeup. There's elaborate altars called ofrendas, adorned with photos, favorite foods, and personal items of the deceased. And don't forget the sea of orange marigolds and sugar skulls everywhere. Now, if you want to dive into the Day of the Dead festivities, we've got some top spots for you. Head to the Zócalo to see the mind-blowing Mega Ofrenda. It is a massive display of altars that will leave you speechless. For a more traditional experience, check out Mix Creek, where you can join the all-night cemetery vigils, where families spend the night telling stories and remembering their loved ones. Next up, Taxco. The Pueblo Mágico of Taxco in the mountains of central Mexico is one of the most charming Mexican towns we have visited. And it's reachable by bus from Mexico City. Picture narrow cobblestone streets winding their way through a sea of whitewashed houses with red tile roofs. Our favorite thing about Taxco are the old VW Beetle taxis that buzz around town. The taxi drivers of Taxco drive these Beetles like rally cars, and thundering down the steep and narrow roads in the backseat is sure to get your adrenaline rushing. At the town's plaza, you'll find the stunning Santa Prisca Church. This 18th century Baroque masterpiece is a must-see. Its ornate facade and twin bell towers dominate the town's skyline, and the inside is lavishly decorated. For a bird's-eye view of Taxco, we highly recommend taking a ride on the Teleférico de Monte Taxco. This cable car offers breathtaking panoramas of the town and surrounding landscapes. Taxco is known as the silver capital of Mexico. The town has a long history of silver mining that dates back to the 16th century, so we couldn't miss out on visiting one of the old silver mines. Our guide took us deep down the narrow, dark mining shaft and taught us a lot about how they extract silver from the ground here. We had a blast checking out all the handcrafted silver jewelry and trinkets. If you're looking for a unique souvenir, this is definitely the place to find it. I picked up a few silver rings to remember one of my favorite places in Mexico by. Just be ready to practice your bargaining skills. Now it's time to show you one of Mexico City's most incredible green spaces. Let's head to Chapultepec Park, a place that's not just a park, it's like a whole world within the city. It's actually double the size of Central Park in New York. One of the coolest things about this park is Chapultepec Castle, where royalty used to live. This place sits on top of a hill and gives you some of the best views of Mexico City that you'll find anywhere. It's a bit of a walk up the hill, but the beautiful castle is worth it. The National Museum of Anthropology is also located inside the park, and it is a must visit. It's the most popular museum in all of Mexico, and once you step inside, you'll see why. This place is packed with ancient Mexican art and artifacts. We spent hours just wandering around, amazed at everything that we saw. For a bit of fun, head to Chapultepec Lake and rent a rowboat or paddle boat. It's a great way to spend a sunny afternoon. You'll also find a zoo, a botanical garden, and even an open-air gym in the park if you're feeling energetic. And if you just want to chill out, there are plenty of green spaces perfect for a picnic or a lazy afternoon nap. Next up, number 1, Coyoacan. Coyoacan is the most charming neighborhood in Mexico City. Cobblestone streets, colonial buildings, and a vibe that's totally different from the rest of Mexico City. It's like a little village right in the middle of this massive metropolis. One spot you absolutely can't miss is La Casa Azul, or the Blue House. This is where the famous artist Frida Kahlo was born and later lived with her husband Diego Rivera. Today, it's a museum that gives you a peek into Frida's fascinating life and work. You can see her art, studio, and personal belongings drawings on display. Now, I've got a few tips for you to make the most of your visit. First off, try to get to Casa Azul early. Be sure to book your tickets online because you can't buy them on site. After that, take some time to just wander around. The main square, Plaza Hidalgo, is a great place to people watch and soak up the atmosphere. And don't forget to try some local specialties at the market. Trust me, your taste buds will thank you. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe for more epic travel guides about Mexico and plenty of other places coming real soon.